Well, welcome back into mid-Norfolk this quite early morning. It's around 7:30 in the morning here in Norfolk, and we're just going to show you this new vegetable garden that we've been building over the summer in this area of what was a little agility paddock. This is all going to be redesigned over the next coming weeks. We've got fencers booked that were supposed to come end of August, but because the summer's been so dry here, their work schedule's been knocked back. They're really having difficulty getting posts in, and this is going to be the new area when that fence comes round and wraps down the side of this new path area where our solar panels are going to be positioned, part of our solar farm project. Try and get as much free electricity as we can out of what little sun we get here in Norfolk in the middle of winter. That's going to be an interesting project. I'm looking forward to doing the videos on that as that gets put in, hopefully towards the end of this month. But as part of the redevelopment project that we've been doing here, this area was absolutely trashed by the diggers because of what is sitting under there. As part of the barn development works that we've undertaken, the planning insisted that we put a new septic system or sewage treatment system in to deal with the potential number of people that could be staying here based on the bedrooms and bathrooms that were being developed. Now, these little caps and the plastic housing don't give much away, but under here is the most enormous 30 person Clargester system. It's the size of a submarine basically under here, a massive great big thing, 3 meters tall and about 5 meters long, and those are the access hatches for the treatment area. It's got a permanently going air compressor. You can just hear it buzzing away here, and that basically blows air through down into a system of pipes and tubes that oxygenate the dirty water coming in from the sewage system, the grey water in the sewage, and that basically is churned around and digested by bacteria and comes into a chamber at this end through a series of sponges, and then ends up in a sump chamber here with a pump system that basically then takes the clean water, and you're supposed to be able to drink it. We haven't risked that yet, but we have risked putting it directly into the natural pond that is just to that side, and the water coming through there is crystal clear and supporting quite a bit of life, so it's all working very, very nicely. But then that area was then covered in the soil that they dug out for the hole, and then we looked at this and I thought, this is going to give me the opportunity to bring a new area of garden down here. And so we've done that. We've used the wooden supports that came out of the old hayloft, which was part of the new barn development, and they were just the right length, and 8 of them to form these 2 square borders. And this area in the centre to the side I've measured out, and I'm hoping that sometime over the next couple of months we're going to get a polytunnel put up on this area. So the soil's been scraped back. All these areas have the membrane down and then hardcore and then a gravel dressing of pea shingle on the top of them, which should keep it weed free and give us remaining access to the Clargester as and when we need to do service works and emptying on that. Then we're going to have a large polytunnel here on this area, and then to the side of it the 2 vegetable patches. And we've also undertaken to bring water down from the borehole. Now here, as you can see, we've got 2 troughs, one which we are using for water with watering cans that we can fill from the tap on the wall, and the other is an automated trough that was down in the fields, which we're going to keep here for the geese and the livestock on the fields. We're planning on still having sheep in this area. There's none on it at the moment, they've all been moved away and put into the main flock. But when the fence wraps around the side of this vegetable garden, we will then have the solar panels on metal supports, with the front at around 1 metre and the rear at around 1.7, and then we'll graze sheep under it. The fencing will run right the way up this access track that's been put in and around the building yard. And there's a planning app in the moment to put a new warehouse storage unit with a tractor shed and hay storage and a lambing shed. The front of it will sit just about where that old field shelter is, which really is in a perilous state and about to come down. But let's have a look at the vegetable gardens that have gone in here, because these are really interesting and they're doing incredibly well considering the summer we've had. We basically got them knocked together with these old joists, which are in a pretty ropey condition, but they'll do as edging. That allows us to have these raised borders that we're now filling with mushroom compost from the big pile that was delivered by a trailer and dumped here at the beginning of the summer. And this stuff I'm a real fan of. It's such a brilliant soil improver and has really allowed us to crack on and grow these vegetables, which were only put in around June. The runner beans have done absolutely brilliantly, still covered in flowers, still producing lots of lovely little beans. But we've been picking these continuously now for probably about 4 or 5 weeks, and they're producing some really, really good beans. These were just plants, and didn't grow them myself. We bought these on a car boot. I think we bought 6 red, I think they're probably Scarlet Emperor. They weren't a name variety, I'm just guessing that, but they were given to us by the guy in the car boot for £1, and then he threw in some white flowered bean varieties, which again I don't know the variety of. They've just about finished flowering now, so it shows a difference in value in growing a couple of different varieties. The red one definitely flowering much later than the white, and I think it's going to go on producing beans a lot longer. We've also got a row of potatoes which were just sprouting reds that we had in the bottom of the fridge, hadn't been used. We've dug one of those already, and it's produced some really lovely new potatoes in September, and I'm probably going to lift the rest of those over the next couple of weeks and use them rather than letting them grow on, because these have just been planted directly into the mushroom compost that's been laid straight on top of the paddock soil, and you can see what that was like here, just grass and mud from where the diggers had been. The lettuce cage, we've got to have some protection here. The reason I'm growing these through a rabbit run is just had the rabbit run sitting in a barn, but this has kept the rabbits off the lettuce and the deer off the lettuce, and without the fencing up that we should have had in place earlier on, we've got muntjac, rabbits, pigeons, crows, you name it. We're fighting the wildlife to grow anything in here. And I did plant another little row of dwarf French beans in there, and you can see they've just been eaten away without any protection, so we are going to have to grow things under nets and with additional protection, I think, in this location on the garden. Little catch crop of radishes in there, which are doing very well. The lettuces, yes, they're all running to seed, but these were just put in as a catch crop. We overgrew far too much lettuce for just myself and Kate, but we have got these absolutely superb looking. These are, sorry, I forgot what they were then. These are purple sprouting broccoli. These are plants that are going to flower next spring and give us hopefully some lovely purple sprouts. We're not spraying these. You can see they've been quite badly hit by caterpillars. I've been picking these off and squishing them to try and keep them going, but without the netting we'd have no plants here at all. But they're twice the size of the ones we've grown in the old soil in the vegetable garden under nets. Next year I'll buy a much finer net to go over these. I've never been able to grow any brassicas at all in the other garden because of the wildlife and pigeons. So I know they don't look the best, and people I know will be saying, why didn't you spray these or pay more attention to them? But actually I'm quite proud of these. They're the first ones I've managed to grow in this location. This border here we're gradually expanding up. You can see I've had some of the black plastic which was in the base of the barn used to protect the flooring by the builders, just to suppress the grass and give me a start in terms of composting it down. And then we're just filling in with the mushroom compost on top to a depth of around 4 or 5 inches and planting directly into it, and it seems to work. I did think that the mushroom compost was probably going to be far too rich and strong for that to work, and I was going to have to wait for it to compost down further, but just look, everything's growing really well in it, seems to love it. The fruit that we've been having off here and vegetables have been fantastic. The beans, very little stringiness in them. The potatoes, fantastic. And the lettuce, because they're growing so fast, no bitterness or sourness at all to the leaf. It really is very good quality stuff that's coming off here. And for such a new area of garden, I've been quite impressed with how well it's done.